We spend more than 1/3 of our waking lives, about 115,000 hours, at work. In fact, the only place we spend more time than work is in bed. If only we could find a way to combine the two, the ultimate productivity life hack. Perhaps one day a neurosurgeon will be saying, "AI bot, wake me up if there are any complications with this procedure," as they snore through a craniectomy.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Hi, and welcome to Philosopher Insights. My name is Herb Lamba. Today we're discussing the humor habit. Rewire your brain to stress less, laugh more, and achieve more. The author is Paul Osincup. The book is published in 2024. I wanted to share a number of my favorite insights, starting with why humor helps. Look for gifts and mistakes. Take a funny 15. Laughter. Lead by example. Fun over funny. Earn it via psychological safety. The comic triple technique. And then finish it off with a closing thought. So let's begin with the introduction. Quote, "A new reality brings new stressors to add to the pile of original stressors that have been sitting in the corner since 2020, like that old pair of work slacks. The only difference is the stressors still fit. We need all the coping strategies we can find. For some, traditional mindfulness and stress reduction strategies like exercise, yoga, or meditation may suffice. But for many, those strategies just aren't enough, aren't the right fit, or require too much essential oils. Here's the good news. In this age of overwhelm, there's an untapped resource we all possess that helps foster connection and boost productivity and enhances our lives. And no, it's not Zoom. It's our sense of humor. Don't worry, I'm not just going to review all the research providing that stress is bad and a sense of humor helps. And this book isn't just a bunch of old jokes about the pandemic, because the bad thing about a COVID joke is you don't want people to get it. When we're faced with stress, overwhelm, and trying times, people often say, "You just need to have a sense of humor about it," or "just laugh it off." It's great advice, but the problem is nobody ever tells us how to do that. In this book, I'll provide you with practical strategies for developing your sense of humor into a powerful mindfulness tool. You'll learn specific approaches drawing on cutting-edge positive psychology and neuroscience research, combined with timeless techniques from the world of stand-up and improv comedy that will help you freak out less and see humor in life more. End quote. Now, have you ever felt like you're just way too serious all the time? Like you're stuck in a rut of chronic seriousness that's draining your energy and joy? Well, my friend, you're not alone. It's a condition that affects pretty much everyone in the working world. Healthcare professionals, finance gurus, tech wizards, teachers, business people, marketers, construction crews, you name it. But fear not, because there's a hilarious cure. In this book, The Humor Habit, veteran comedian and humor expert Paul Osincup makes a compelling case for why we all need to embrace our funny side. This isn't just about cracking jokes, though there are plenty of that too. It's about rewiring your brain to find the humor in everyday situations. He packs the book with timeless comedy tools and techniques that you can start using right away to bring more laughter into your day. I am honored to share just a handful of my favorite insights from this book, so let's begin. Insight number 1, why humor helps. Quote, "I'm not going to insult you with outrageous claims of humor curing cancer or resolving clinical depression. We'll continue to let 9 out of 10 doctors agree on whatever truly is the best medicine. Humor and laughter, however, are incredible complements to medicine and wellness practices because of the variety of health benefits they produce. In fact, that whole laughing decreasing inflammation claim, yep, we have confirmed studies since then. That's the thing. So next time you've got a swollen knee, perhaps instead of Aleve, have a laugh. Nothing against Aleve as a brand. It was just the best anti-inflammatory drug to go with witty alliteration." End quote. Okay, now get ready for this. The research on humor and stress is pretty mind-blowing. Scientists actually compared 2 groups of people. Those who used humor to cope with stress, we'll call them the cool kids with the humor habit, and those who didn't, let's refer to them as the sourpusses. And the differences. Well, the humor group was 44% less likely to get bent out of shape over little things that normally stress people out. Now, can you imagine how chill your life would be if you could just laugh off all the minor annoyances? That is just the tip of the iceberg, because the laughter lovers also complained a whopping 50% less than the non-fun allowed group. Just think about how much mental energy you'd save by not constantly venting and griping. And now for my favorite when it comes to the workplace. 71% are mostly or very satisfied with their jobs, versus just 52% of non-humor people. Quote, as one of the world's foremost humor and laughter researchers, Dr. Lee Burke put it this way, quote, if we took what we know now about laughter and bottled it, it would require FDA approval, end quote. Insight number 2. Look for the gifts in mistakes. Quote, reframing mistakes into gifts isn't easy and it takes practice, which is why many large organizations encourage employees to take risks and even fail. From rewarding employees who had massively failed ideas to hosting fail parties and a failed idea hall of fame, companies like Google, Coca-Cola, Netflix, Amazon, and Domino's make risk-taking part of their culture. They understand that just like in improv comedy, it's difficult to be successful in business when people play it safe, are afraid to take risks, and make no mistakes. It's unrealistic to think our minds will immediately look at mistakes as gifts in the moment. Fortunately, unlike on an improv stage, we can have an initial moment of panic freakout or stress before we figure out what the gift might be in a situation. That is normal, end quote. Now this fits into the category of easier said than done, because when we mess up or something goes wrong, our first instinct is rarely to think, oh cool, what's the gift here? That's like next level positive thinking that most of us just aren't wired for in the heat of the moment. When you flub a line during a big presentation or burn the dinner you were cooking for your in-laws, you're way more likely to have a brief moment of panic, freaking out, or just feeling super stressed and embarrassed. Finding the lesson in mistakes is great, but unrealistic to expect immediately. Unlike improv actors trained to roll with it, most of us need time to process screw-ups. So allow yourself that initial meltdown. Then look for the gift, an opportunity for humility, a reminder to double-check, or a funny story to share. There's usually an upside or wisdom buried in mistakes. You just need grace to unwrap that gift bag when you're ready. Insight number 3. Take a funny 15. Quote, we know that people who take a 15-minute break at work are more productive when they get back to work. Duh. But according to the Journal of Business Psychology, people who watched a funny video on their break were twice as productive when they returned as those who took a break with no humor, end quote. Well, why not change things up? Before you mindlessly open up Instagram or start doom scrolling the news again, why not try something that's actually boosting your productivity instead of zapping it? I'm talking about taking a 15-minute break to watch some hilarious videos and give your mind a little comic relief. Insight number 4. Laughter. Quote, we spend more than 1/3 of our waking lives, about 115,000 hours, at work. In fact, the only place we spend more time than work is in bed. If only we could find a way to combine the two, the ultimate productivity life hack. Perhaps one day a neurosurgeon will be saying, AI bot, wake me up if there are any complications with this procedure, as they snore through a craniectomy. Until then, however, we need to be awake for those 115,000 hours. If you're a clock watcher and the final 3 hours of your workday seem to drag along like udders on an earthworm, just wait until you calculate how many hours you have left until retirement. It's a serious amount of time to be serious all the time, end quote. All right, you know the drill with these self-help books. The authors can't just give you straight-up advice. Nope. They've got to package it up all cute with some kind of quirky acronym that's supposed to make it easier to remember. Well, this humor book is no exception. The acronym is, wait for it, LAFTER. L-A-F-T-E-R. Yep, you heard me right. Laughter, but with a cheeky little twist. Can't you just picture the author grinning from ear to ear thinking, this is pure genius. I'll just take out the UG and replace it with an F for, well, you can use your imagination on that one. The acronym stands for L, lead by example, A, ask for help, F, fun over funny, T, tell your story, E, earn it, and R, rituals. Insight number 5, lead by example. Quote, when it comes to humor, you don't need to be the leader of the free world to lead by example. In your organization, you may have a formal leadership role managing a team, or perhaps you're in a brand new entry-level position and don't supervise anyone. Based on the research shared in this chapter, if you aren't in a leadership position yet, you're more likely to be promoted to one after using the tools in this book. When you're in good humor and can leverage levity as a tool, team members, colleagues, and customers will follow your lead, end quote. Now the author has a hot take on how to truly master this whole leading with levity thing. It's all about striking that perfect balance between confidence and humility. We all know that one person who is just oozing with self-assurance to the point of being a cocky little you-know-what. Too much confidence without any humility. Well, that's just arrogance dressed up in a terrible, ugly outfit. But then you've got the other extreme. Those people who are so damn humble and self-deprecating that you just want to shake them and be like, have some confidence for crying out loud. That's too much humility, without that sprinkle of self-assurance, and it's just sad, really. Here is something interesting. Quote, the higher our status, the more people laugh at us. This section of the book is all about leading by example, and that's where self-enhancing humor works best. When you're in a leadership role, the more power and influence you have, the more impact it will have when others see you taking yourself lightly. End quote. So when you're in a position of leadership and authority, all eyes are on you. There's an unspoken expectation that you should carry yourself with a certain level of seriousness and gravitas. After all, you're the one calling the shots and steering the ship, right? However, the author argues that great leaders know when and how to strategically deploy a little self-efficacying humor. By not taking themselves too seriously and being willing to poke fun at their own foibles or mishaps, they humanize themselves in a powerful way. Insight number 6, fun over funny. Quote, at some point when reading this book, or perhaps when you first saw it, you may have thought, humor is great and all, but I just don't think I'm that funny. If you're thinking that, you could be right. Maybe you're not very funny. I doubt it, but I haven't met you, so who knows. But if you are thinking that, you're at least humble and self-aware, which are both key ingredients to being funny. One trick to discovering humor more frequently at work or home is to think fun over funny. Humor and fun aren't the same thing, but they're often showing up at the same parties. Usually when we get people together doing fun things, funny stuff happens. The funny people say funny things, or we simply start laughing for no reason other than we're having fun. End quote. I see what's going on here. This clever author is throwing you a life raft in case you're one of those people who claims, I'm just not a funny person. He's basically saying, listen, even if telling jokes isn't your strong suit, you can still get in on this humor game. Just focus on bringing more fun into the workplace first. Once the fun levels start rising, the laughs are sure to follow. It's a classic bait and switch. You think you're just goofing off and letting loose, but really you're priming those laughter pumps. Before you know it, you'll be cracking yourself up without even trying. Insight number 7, earn it via psychological safety. Quote, one of the tallest hurdles to overcome as someone who speaks and consults about humor is the concern from organizational leaders that humor is a slippery slope and can result in inappropriate jokes and harmful comments. To that concern, I say yes. And yes, some people use humor inappropriately or tell jokes that are insensitive or even offensive. And it's also quite common that the inappropriate action or comment was not actually intended in jest, and that humor is just getting the retroactive blame. I was just joking is typically what follows a regrettable action or when someone is caught being offensive, derogatory, or just mean. The real slippery slope isn't humor. It's allowing the toxic behaviors of mistreatment, alienation, intimidation, and harassment to occur without consequences. End quote. Now sure, a company's core values and desired behaviors are the main course. Those are the meat and potatoes that give your workplace its substance. But humor, that's like the little sprinkle of sugar that makes the whole meal just a tad more delightful. Instead of constantly hushing humor to the kids' table, we need to embrace it as the sweet treat it can be when used constructively. And the key ingredient for that? Psychological safety. That's right, creating an environment where people feel comfortable enough to let their hair down and be a little goofy. None of this walking on eggshells, terrified to crack a smile stuff. An open, playful culture is what unlocks the real magic of humor in the workplace. When you know you can toss out a good-natured joke without getting torn down, that's when the real bonding and creative juices start flowing. Insight number 8, the comic triple technique. Quote, the comic triple is a go-to technique used by people who write comedy and who can count to 3. You simply make a list of 3 things about your topic, with the first 2 being obvious or serious, and the third being something funny, surprising, or different. Before we play with the comic strip formula with one of your pain points or struggles, let's do it with something more neutral, like a bio about yourself or what you do. Here's the formula. Hi, my name is blank, and I blank, I blank, and I blank. This doesn't have to be hilarious to start. Just make it fit the formula. End quote. So let me start the game off by sharing something about me, but I highly recommend you sit down and try this one for yourself. Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and I started my career as a school teacher. I switched careers to information technology 4 years later, and I stole a candy machine from a hotel lobby and hid it inside my hotel room. Alcohol was involved in this decision. Now you can use this formula to tackle pain points in your own life. For example, the pain of working at home by yourself all day long. That would go something like this. I see many advantages of working at home. I save money on the commute, which is easily $20 a day. I eat healthier food when I work at home, and when I'm tired, I put myself on Do Not Disturb and take a nap. Insight number 9. Closing thought. Quote, once you establish your humor habit, you'll not only be able to take life's lemons and make your lemonade a little sweeter, but perhaps even open your lemonade stand and share it with others. I love the feeling of making people laugh, but I wasn't always aware of the immense power of humor. You can harness that power to not only refuel yourself, but to bring people together, brighten someone's day, or spark a brief moment of joy, providing temporary relief to someone in pain. I hope the concepts in this book help you start experiencing more humor in your life, not by chance, but by choice. Remember, humor is not a talent. Humor is a habit. End quote. Well, that wraps up my favorite insights from The Humor Habit by Paul Osincup. We covered everything from embracing the gift of your epic screw-ups to walking that tightrope of confident humility as a leader. We even decoded the author's cheeky little acronym that removes the ugh from laughter. Hopefully, one or two of these insights spoke to your soul and gave you some creative ways to be the office's resident ray of sunshine. Whether it's instituting mandatory laugh breaks or just giving yourself permission to be a lovable dork from time to time, at the end of the day, we could all use a little more joy injected into our lives and workplaces. And humor is just the spoonful of sugar that helps that medicine go down. Until next time, stay curious and keep embracing the wonders of knowledge. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lamba. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.